Welcome. I'm Dani Johnson. If this is your first time joining us, I'm so very grateful that you're here. And if this is like your 200th time joining us, you really, really bless me. Your faithfulness, your loyalty, as well as how you apply the information that we bring you on this website, DaniJohnson.com, all the free content that we have been supplying for you. Really, like, you have enough content every day to listen to for hours a day if you wanted to, and some actually do listen for hours every single day. Anyway, so whether you're brand new or this is your 10th time, 200th time, whatever it is, I'm super grateful to have you here. My name is Dani Johnson, and prior to having this website, being a businesswoman as well as one who donates my salary and takes a large portion of our profits and gives it to the extreme poor in this country as well as abroad. Prior to all of that, I actually grew up on welfare, pregnant at 17, homeless at 21, but millionaire by 23. After making my first million, I either spent it all or I was also embezzled with the rest. I had two companies at the time. And I started very, very young, and I was just so foolish financially. I was also very foolish in business and made every possible business mistake and financial mistake that somebody can make. My husband Hans and I have learned through the school of hard knocks, and I mean serious hard knocks. Our first 10 years of making money and building businesses, we spent all of it, and actually some of other people's. What do I mean by that? We had at one point in his early 20s, my mid 20s, $1 million mortgage. Like, who needs $1 million mortgage in their 20s? That's just what we thought we were supposed to do. We were told by the mortgage people that, hey, you qualify for, $1 million home. And there we were, pigs being led to slaughter, fattened up with some big fat debt, not realizing the price that we'd actually pay for it. And we didn't do that just once. We actually did that a couple of times. We were completely foolish. We were doing what society was telling us to do. We were doing even what our financial mentors and our business mentors were telling us to do, which was actually all but one of them. One of them actually lived really super frugal, and the others were like, yeah, you got to buy the big house so that people can see what success looks like, and wear really nice clothes and show people the life that they could have if they were a part of an industry or if they were entrepreneurs like you guys. And oh my gosh, did that get us in such a giant mess. In fact, we found ourselves through different times and seasons in our marriage, and our marriage was really, really hanging on by a thread. And I mean like a tiny, I'm not talking about a fishing line. I'm talking about a skinny little thread. And there were times when I wondered if we were going to make it or not. And so tonight I want to talk to you about making sure to shield your marriage from a divorce, to shield your marriage from the pain of bad finances and poor financial choices that so many of us didn't know we were making. Hans and I didn't know we were making poor financial choices. Again, we were looking to, those very successful business mentors and millionaires, if you will, and we were gleaning from them. And I can't blame them completely, because my husband actually found a book that talked about how real financial independent people live. And we went, oh, wow, that's so cool. And then we turned around and did the opposite of what the book told us. And so why? We came from poverty. The two of us did. I was on welfare as a child up until I was about 12, 13 years old. My mom broke her neck when I was 11. She started getting subsidized due to a malpractice suit that happened. By the time I was 14, we were living in a big house, which was 3,300 square feet, on about 8 acres, and our whole life had changed. We went from, rice and pasta to having meat every night, and that was a huge change. I remember being in the grocery store with my mom, and she had this little clicker because she hated the embarrassment of getting to the checkout line and not having enough food stamps to pay for the food. And so she'd be adding up on this little clicker, every single thing that she put in the cart, and I would watch her take things out of the cart and put things in the cart that, was taking her past what her whatever tiny little budget was with food stamps. Because back then, food stamps was you didn't have meat. You weren't able really to get meat. If anything, it'd be ground beef, and that would be like a luxury. It certainly wasn't a daily thing. But today, sadly, our country is so poorly managed that people are eating salmon and lobster and crab legs and steak for dinner who are on food stamps, which is like unbelievable to me. It certainly wouldn't give anyone a reason to get off of food stamps and to be totally self-sufficient on their own when you get to eat like a king and queen using the government's money. But my family was that family, and same with Hans's. My husband, when he was 8 years old, started his first business out of necessity, not because he was like this aspiring entrepreneur who wanted to, become a businessman one day. That wasn't it at all. The fact is that he had to. His mom was a single mom. She was a boat captain. She'd be gone for 2 to 3 weeks at a time. And his grandparents were living on the big island of Hawaii with them to help, take care of them. But Hans and his little brother would actually go and pick flowers off of trees and sew them together and sell them as flower lace to the tourists. And they would do this to be able to buy food, to be able to buy, shoes or school supplies or whatever it was that they needed, because their mother, as a single mother living in a very expensive place, had a very hard time, being able to keep a roof over their head. She did the very best that she could. And so, listen, the people have hard times, throughout our lives. We all are going to suffer trauma. We are all going to have things that are not going well. Our family certainly is not a family that's been immune to that. We've been, we've had divorces. We've had, major health issues come up in our family, massive medical bills. We've all had the same thing, your family and our family, right? Businesses going under, declaring bankruptcy, overspending and not even realizing it. And so tonight I really want to shield your marriage if you would allow you and I to be able to work together tonight through this next few minutes about what are some things that we did and or what I've watched other people do, because I've been working with thousands and tens of thousands of people for many, many years. In fact, I've been in business for 32 years. Can't even believe I can say that. 32 years I've been in business. Largely my whole focus has been focusing on helping other people succeed financially in their relationships and in their work life. And teaching people how to do this without spending their entire life doing it, meaning wasting all of their time in just work and chasing money, but having a life that they want to live and to live it right now. And tonight is designed to help you live the life that you want to live right now. So I have some questions for you. Is the life that you want to live right now fighting with your spouse about money? Well, Dani, I'm not married. What about fighting with yourself about money? Is the life that you want to live now a life where it is like pain and struggle and worry and anxiety concerning money? Like worried every single time you check the mail or your email when the bills are coming in? Is the life that you want to live now a life where you are like being kept up at night because of the debts that have been piling up and strangling you around your neck to the point where there is not a dream in you anymore. There's not even a goal in you anymore. Now it is, how do I just pay back my creditors? Especially with where the world is going through right now. I mean, it is crazy to me, the levels of insanity, especially financially. So many huge corporations have been in business for a very long time, declaring bankruptcy, millions of people that have been laid off. My question to you is the life that you want to live now one that is held hostage to the company you're working for, held hostage to a government that's doing their best, but it may not be what we all agree with? Do you want to be held hostage to other people's financial choices? Is that the life that you want to live right now? Or is the life that you want to live right now one that has freedom? Let's talk about this. Is it possible to pay off debt during a massive financial crisis? My answer is yes. Is it possible that during a time when so many people are hurting, is it possible for you to establish your own economy? Is it possible for you to shield yourself from being deeply affected, more than you already are affected, by what's going on around you? The answer is yes, 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 and heck yes. I want to show you how you can live the life you want now especially if in your relationship you feel held hostage to the way your significant other, your spouse, whatever, your partner is spending. Let's walk you through a process of freedom. You might be saying, but you don't understand. Like, we are opposites financially. Well, so was my husband and I. So we are, actually. Okay, well, Dani, you don't understand. Like, we are fighting all the time about money. Listen, I've watched people get divorces because of money, which meant that money was a higher priority than the marriage. Money was a higher priority, whether it was the spouse's higher priority or the wife's higher priority. I mean, the wife or the husband, doesn't matter. But if we're fighting over money, then that means that money has become the higher priority over the marriage. Now, Hans and I have done that, and we had to learn from it. And we found that money was not more important than our love for each other, than our relationship for each other. And we've had to work on not allowing money to come in to be the thing that we're fighting about, or the thing that we're arguing, or that we're at odds with each other about, or that we are judging each other with, using money to judge each other, using money as a weapon against our spouse. And so you have to make a decision. Number one point, what's the higher priority in your relationship? Because if we're judging our spouse about how they spend money, the marriage is not the highest priority. If we're judging our spouse and thinking that, hey, they don't understand, if you've heard any of our teaching, about 98%, that 98% of the population is dead or dead broke by the age of 65, and that 2% of the population is financially independent. You've heard the teaching, and you've been the one like grabbing everything you can off of the website, DaniJohnson.com. And in doing so, if you've become judgmental, if you've become the chief authority of finances in your house, you've used the tools that we have supplied for you free on our website, as well as other tools that are available for those that want to go to a higher level of understanding and they want to get a higher level of skill. If you have used the tools that we have produced available for you as weapons, you have misused what we've given you. You can use a tool to build something dynamic, or you can use a tool as a weapon to tear down, destroy something that is more important. So don't use what I'm going to give you tonight as a weapon. Use it as a tool. And how are you already using the knowledge and the skill in which you've already gained? If any part of you is using knowledge and skill that you've gained as a weapon, that's on you, friend. And you actually have brought the contention into the relationship. You, my friend, have actually brought in a mess. So what do? You got to clean it up. This also applies for you and your children, meaning anyone that is around you. If you're using knowledge, especially the knowledge you've gotten from us at DaniJohnson.com, if you're using that, I'm not giving it to you to use as a weapon. I'm giving it to you so that you can build your own dynasty. You can build a legacy. You can build the life you want to live now, versus creating the disastrous, argumentative, pressure-filled, horrific life that you don't want right now. So you literally can fix whatever it is that you've done. So ask yourself the question, have I used my knowledge or my opinion as a weapon or as a tool? Only you can answer that. I would actually spend some time with your God, like saying, okay, show me, man. Show me right now, like, have I been using the gift that I've been receiving as a tool or a weapon? Search your heart, because using it for judgment will never help you and your spouse get on the same page. It will only breed contention and division. And if you stay on that path long enough, you will find yourselves hugging the side of the bed, and you will find yourself in a sexless relationship, and you will find yourself building a hardened heart, which will not result in the life that you want to live right now. It will result in a lot of pain and a lot of suffering. So first and foremost, What are you doing with the tools? Like, remember 2 weeks ago, we did a webinar for you absolutely free, giving you tips on how to save money, how to stretch your dollar, right? How to budget like a pauper, but live more like a king and a queen. We gave that to you. What did you do with that information? How did you use that information to build something good and positive, to build bridges instead of walls? Only you can answer that. And if you're not applying the information that we're giving you, I have no point in actually doing this. So this is actually a real test. I've committed to 90 days of doing this every other week, but if you're not gonna get results with what I'm giving you, I don't need to keep doing this. You don't need to keep watching this. I'm not your entertainer, I'm not your pastor, I am not a prostitute, and I'm not your politician. So please don't use me in the way that you could actually hear things and not apply them, or use a service and not actually apply it. And or I'm not the person that's here to just be a talking head to entertain you, like many of the 3 professions that I just gave you. I'm not saying all pastors are there to entertain you, but sadly, their congregation often treat them like they are nothing but an entertainer. I want you to get results. It's the only way we will continue to produce free materials on our website to help you, is if you're actually going to use it to get results. So if you have been using any of your knowledge as a weapon against your spouse, yeah. Point number 1, write it down. Need to go and apologize and make things right. Yep, I'm sorry, honey. Please forgive me. I have been horrible to you. I have used tools as a weapon, and I have wrongly judged you without even judging myself first. Please forgive me. I was wrong. I love you, and our marriage is way more important to me than me being right about money. Please forgive me for lording over my opinion over you. He may or she may choose not to forgive you. If you are giving that sincere apology, and if they choose not to forgive you, guess what? You're clean. You're clean. You are forgiven. Now stop doing what you've been doing, and that is judging them. Point number 2, are you lying about what you're spending money on? Oh, I've worked with tens of thousands of people. Oh yes, millions have heard about our financial courses that we have available on the website, and many have used these courses, and we have scores of people who've become debt-free. We have scores of people who are on their path right now of paying off their debt. And what I've learned as I've watched and coached people, even one-on-one, is some spouses lie to each other about money. They do. They lie. They lie about what they're spending it on. Can you tell me something? If you're lying to your spouse about money, whether you're lying about how much you make or you don't make, whether you're lying about where you're actually spending it, you're withdrawing cash from your ATM, which we don't recommend that you do. We recommend that you do not use cash because you tend to spend more of it when you have cash in hand, and you tend to not track it. Cash is not trackable unless, of course, you're going to have a ledger. Highly unlikely, whether that's on an app on your phone or it's, and I don't know if that actual app even exists, but I'm sure it does. If you're tracking the cash, then that's one thing. But if you are not tracking the cash and you're just withdrawing cash and you're just like spending it wherever, and you're totally being dishonest with your spouse, and you're buying more clothes, you're buying more shoes, listen to me, right now is not the time to be buying anything. Right now is the time to be learning and saving, learning and saving, learning and saving. This is not the time to be buying clothes. This is not the time to replenish your wardrobe. This is the time actually to weed out your wardrobe. If anything, what you can do, if you've got a major shopping habit, why don't you find another friend who has a major shopping habit, and why don't you guys shop in each other's closets? You guys could barter with each other. You guys could trade shoes. You could trade blouses. You could trade skirts, pants, slacks, whatever it is that you want to do. But that's a great way to not spend money. That's a great way to cause your bank account to actually grow by refusing to spend it on stupid things like clothes. That's a great thing that you can do. But listen to me. My point is not finding a different way to trade clothes. My point is, are you lying? I want you to know something. This is something that we taught our kids. Lying, when you go full force, like when you follow the path of lying, and those stupid little white lies are the ones that I'm talking about, those stupid little white lies that you start with, that then eventually turn into something much bigger, much, much bigger. When you follow the path of lying, You follow the breadcrumbs of lying. Where does it eventually lead? This is something we taught our kids. It eventually leads to jail. That's where it eventually leads. When you have a habit of lying, when the lies continue to grow, they get bigger and they mature. When you have a habit of lying over little things, pretty soon you'll lie about big things and you'll end up in big trouble. And the bottom line is that people who lie eventually end up in jail in some way, shape, or form. Whether it's IRS problems, lying on your tax returns, yep, that will lead you to jail. Whether that's lying at work, lying about what you're doing, what you're spending. Listen to me. Lying is never going to result in you living the life that you want, ever. And if you're lying to your spouse about what you're doing with money, I promise you, this does not end well. So if you have, it's time to fess up today. Yes, I said it. Fess up today. You do not want to be that person. That's not the life you want to live now. But you can start being honest and allow the accountability to foster inside your relationship. Stop lying about money. Number 3, do your part. But Dani, I shared with my spouse the personal finance system that you have. I also shared with my spouse the LifeMap. I love the LifeMap. I love all the training that's in there about money. But we are just not on the same page. I understand. Some of you are like, what's the LifeMap? The LifeMap is a powerful set of courses to help you with money, whether it's making more or spending less, ways to spend less. The LifeMap also helps you focus on creating a vision. It literally is bite-sized pieces. They're courses. There's assignments in there that cause you to think versus having somebody else think for you so that you can design and live the life that you want. Inside the course also helps you with your spiritual life, also helps you with your relationships. And so literally it's like a university course, but in small bite-sized pieces to where you can train yourself. You and I are meeting every day as often as you want to meet. And it gets results. It gets massive results. And we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of content that clients have paid thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for. Those of our clients who actually are the DJU, the Dani Johnson University clients. I mean, these are people who are all in. We have thousands of dollars worth of content, training, skill development, not hype, not stuff that you will never use, actionable items, usable items that when you hear it, you can use it right now. Just like what I'm talking about right now. But in the LifeMap, this is where we go much higher skill set versus the conversation we're having right now. And it's like ridiculous. Thousands of dollars of content for $30, $1 a day, $1 a day for you to stay on the right track. So let's say that you're saying, but Dani, I've been learning in the LifeMap, but my spouse won't get on the same page with me. Listen to me. Listen to me. If you're learning these simple things, you do not have to be the one that convinces your spouse to do it the way you think it should be done. But here's what you can do, friend. You can be like my friend Joanne. Joanne, when she first started to learn about the skills that we teach you inside the LifeMap, about annihilating your debt, right? And the fun of it, learning the fun of the fun budget and all the different tips and tricks that Hans and I use to be completely debt-free and as well as completely financially independent. Financial freedom is really what it is that you want. So anyway, Joanne, when she first started to learn this, Joanne and her husband were in their 60s. Actually mid to late 60s. And he was a paint contractor for the 20 plus years of marriage that they had been married. And Joanne, when she heard the message, she was like, I'm gonna do this as a gift for my husband. She did not try to get Rick to follow her in this financial journey. Not at all. And here we were at our live training, First Steps to Success, which is a 3-day training. It's like a boot camp for money, for relationships, communication, learning communications, understanding how to motivate people, how to build your career, how to make more money in your career or cause your business to grow. And so anyway, this was a wild, wild thing. We have a time where we have people come up and report to us how much debt that they've paid off. And I had known Rick and Joanne for quite a long time. And I will never, ever forget this powerful, powerful moment. You see, Joanne did not wait for Rick to get on board. You see, Rick heard the same message, but he wasn't getting on board, and she wasn't going to allow it to wait. But listen to the mindset that Joanne had. Was her thought process. My husband has provided and worked hard for over 2 decades for our family. He's a good man, and he's worked hard. I'm going to pay off debt secretly without him knowing, and this will be a gift that I can give him. She was waiting for the most opportune moment to be able to share it with him and check this moment out. So imagine, here we are, there's hundreds of people in a room. It's first steps to success. And I'm in the front of the room, and I said, okay, I would like to invite anybody up that has used this system that we teach called War on Debt. If you've used this system and if you've gotten results, I want you to come up here right now. I want you to share your story. So Joanne comes up. Her husband is in the 3rd row, and he is sitting there looking at Joanne like, what are you doing up there? I'm watching this communication going on as somebody else had their microphone and someone else was talking. And he's perplexed. He doesn't know why Joanne is up there. As far as he knows, no debt's been paid off. So check this out. Joanne then grabs the mic and she's shaking. And she says, my husband Rick does not know this. But honey, when I heard this training, we have paid off $20,000 worth of debt. His arms go up in the air. His face turns bright red. He's a beautiful blue-eyed, strawberry blonde-haired, big, giant man, construction worker guy. He turns bright red. He buries his face in his hands and he begins to weep out loud. There wasn't anyone in that room that did not hear that. And she says, also, honey, those 2 cars that we bought last year, we paid cash for both of them. Honey, we have no more debt. We are completely debt-free. What a gift. Joanne inspired me so much that day because I've encountered so many people that rather look at how their spouse is spending money and look at how their spouse isn't doing what it takes to be able to pay off debt. And Joanne did not allow herself to be sidetracked with any of that. She did what she could do. Listen, she's the one that went to the grocery store, predominantly is the one who bought the groceries. She was the one predominantly who did, paid the bills. She was the one predominantly that had access to the money. So she did her part with the money instead of expecting or waiting for him to do his part with the money. So just on her part alone, she helped them become debt-free without him even knowing it, and paid cash for 2 cars. And they had gone on a vacation in that same time. And guess what? She had paid cash for that too. She goes, honey, we have not gone any further in debt. We've paid off all of our credit cards. We are completely debt-free. Could you imagine? Look, there's so much wisdom in that right there. How is there wisdom in that? Here's how. In a relationship, each person in the relationship brings strengths and weaknesses into the relationship. When we focus on each other's weaknesses, we're not focusing on each other's strengths. So she focused on the strength of what she could do. He was out making money, and she was too. She worked right alongside him as he was a paint contractor. She was the one taping off everything and doing the fine lines. She worked every day too. But she used the strength and the understanding that she gained at first steps to success on how to be able to become financially independent. And that was the gift that she gave her spouse. So listen to me. Do your part. Stop focusing on how they're spending. I want you to focus on how you're spending. And if you're inside of the LifeMap, which right below the screen here, right below this video player, you'll see a blue bar that says Access Your LifeMap. Okay, so right there, you can click on that and start training in that financial capacity. If you're really wanting to learn and you want that massive fast track, you want that like insane fast track, which Joanne had attended, and that's really where she got not only how to grow their paint business, but also to improve her relationship with Rick in their communication skills and motivating each other as well as their kids. But she also learned all of these amazing financial secrets that Hans and I have been using for a lot of years. And so 2 things. So there's that life map right there. And then right below the life map, you'll see first steps to success, We're doing the next First Steps to Success, July 24th through the 26th. It starts Friday night at 6 p.m. and it ends on Sunday night. That First Steps to Success is going to be another virtual event. If you want to know how the first virtual event went, you can go and check the reviews. People have been leaving reviews each and every day about how the event has gone, and or just ask right here in, go on Facebook on our page, Dani Johnson Live, and start asking questions there, and you'll find the clients will tell you exactly how that went. People were blown away. The results that have come out of it are amazing, and you can have the same kind of results they have if you're willing to do what it is that they have done. So I give you those tips, okay? So 1 was judgment, make it right. 2 was lying, make that right. I even gave you a nice little sneak thing on if you are a shopaholic, find another friend who is and start shopping in each other's closets, bartering each other's clothes. Totally great way to save money and still get your little drug addiction filled. Have that needle in your arm. And next is do your part. If you've listened to any part of the training that we did last week and weeks before, different ways of saving money, you do your part and you can be the next Joanne and Rick. You can be that next couple who is working together as a team. Joanne realized that the way she was managing the money wasn't helpful and conducive to the whole family, but if she did her part, it would make a difference, and clearly it did, and she became debt-free. Hello, and you can do the same exact thing. So I hope you enjoyed this tonight. If you have, can you share this? Can you text some people about it? Come on, this is free. Keep passing on good information for people because everybody can use this. Is that not true? Everyone can use this. And by the way, I started this with, are you fighting with yourself? Listen, live the life you want and help other people live the life they want as well. Thanks so much for joining us. DaniJohnson.com. I'm Dani Johnson. Talk to you soon. Next week, in fact, not next week, the week after. Every other week, we're doing this absolutely free for you. And again, there's some resources right below. If you were that person who's like, Dani, thanks for the free. This was really helpful, but I want to go a little faster than this. And that's the life map. We're going to work together every day. And if you want to catapult yourself into financial independence, I'll see you at the virtual First Steps to Success, July 24th through the 25th. God bless you. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.